Chef Danielle Wecksler for TEC Infrared Grills. Today we're going to be talking about our infrared smoker roaster accessory, which is available for all of our current grill models. I'm going to show you how to use our infrared smoker roaster, and then I'm going to show you how to make some of our favorite recipes. So the first step is to take the Radiant drip tray and place it on the grill. The great thing about the Radiant drip tray is that it's going to collect all the grease and drippings from your foods as you cook it low and slow. It's also going to protect your grill from all that greasy mess. Next, you're going to take the roasting rack and you're going to place it over the back of the grill. Right there. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn it down to medium. We're going to preheat it for about 10 minutes or so. While we're waiting for it to preheat, I'm actually going to get our first recipe ready, which is our roasted chicken. So I have a beautiful whole chicken right here. And a lot of times when you think about doing chicken on the grill, you're going to think about a rotisserie accessory. But in this case, our infrared smoker roaster completely replaces that. So you do not have any of those other moving parts. You don't need to have power on your grill. You can actually just use our infrared smoker roaster. That's it. So what I've done with my chicken here is I've coated it with some canola oil, just a little bit, just brush it all over the chicken and give it a nice rub. Then I'm just going to take a little bit of salt and pepper and sprinkle it all over the chicken, both sides. And you want to make sure that the chicken is just nicely coated with all those spices. The other thing I'm going to do with our chicken here is I'm going to actually stuff it with some aromatics. That's going to give it a little bit more flavor as it cooks and roasts on the grill. I'm actually using some fennel to stuff my chicken right here. Fennel is a delicious bulb that actually has a nice licorice flavor. I'm also going to add some fresh parsley, some parsley stems, as well as some fresh thyme and rosemary. And again, like I said, it's just going to perfume the chicken as we're cooking and give it a wonderful little extra flavor. Finally, some fresh garlic cloves. And that's all there is to it. You're ready to go with your chicken. Like I said, it's going to take about 10 minutes for the grill to preheat. Once it's ready to go, you're just going to go ahead and put the chicken directly on the roasting rack. When you put the chicken on the grill, you want to make sure and leave the legs open. You can just kind of press them out gently, just so that the heat is going to penetrate the thigh and the breast much better. Usually when you do a roast chicken, you just think about trussing it up, but in this case, you want to leave it open, and that's going to give you a beautiful golden, crispy skin, as well as make sure that that infrared heat can really penetrate into the chicken. It's going to take about 2 hours or so to roast our chicken. We are going to turn it down to low. Make sure, as I said, to only use your smoker roaster accessory on low heat, because that's going to give you the optimal temperature for roasting the chicken, roughly around 250 to 300 degrees. After about 2 hours, we're going to check it, and you're going to see how delicious, juicy, and wonderful it is, and I'm going to show you how to tell that the chicken's done. So our chicken has been on the grill for about 2 hours now, and so it is just about done. How do we know it's done? We can check its internal temperature. That's always the most effective and most precise way to tell when food is done. In this case, I have a digital remote thermometer that I put into my chicken, and it's telling me that I'm just about right at about 160 degrees, which is the ideal temperature to pull a smoked or roasted chicken. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out my probe and set that aside, and then I'm going to go ahead and lift off my chicken using some nice tongs. You want to let your meat rest for about 10 to 15 minutes or so before you actually carve into it. So while we wait for just a few minutes, let me tell you some other ways to tell when food is done, especially a chicken. In this case, you can see that the thighs are actually starting to pull away from the breast, and you can easily twist off the wings. As soon as the chicken's a little cooler, you can kind of see, look at that. I pulled out the bone just like that. I'm going to go ahead and cut into my chicken right now just to show you how juicy it is. But again, when you're at home, you want to wait just about 10 minutes or so, maybe 15, before you cut into that chicken. And you could start to see some of that juice coming out of the side here. I'm going to cut a little bit into the breast. And then start to cut into one of the legs here. And look at all that juice. See how easy that was? That's all there is to it to make a roasted chicken on your TEC grill using our smoker roaster accessory. Next up, we're gonna do some smoked ribs on our infrared smoker roaster accessory. So we already have our radiant drip tray directly on our grates, as well as the roasting rack on the grill. Now we're actually gonna want to add some chips to the smoker roaster in order to give that wonderful, smoky, delicious flavor that you associate with smoked foods. So with the G-Sport grill, you can actually lay the chips directly on the grates underneath the radiant drip tray. For our patio and Sterling patio grills, you're gonna have a little bit of a channel in the front that you can lay the chips directly onto the grates right there, or you can use our chip corral in order to keep the chips corralled. And this wonderful accessory holds up to 5 cups of chips. It's fantastic for getting a lot of chips onto your grill without the mess of having to clean up those chips. So I'm just gonna put the chips directly into the channel. When we're talking about smoking and roasting, you want to use different kinds of woods to impart different flavors for your food. When you're doing poultry or fish, I like to use apple or alderwood chips, which gives it a nice smoky flavor, light smoky flavor. When I'm working with ribs or beef, like what we're doing today, I like to use cherry or pecan wood. So I'm just going to put those chips right into the corral. Notice that I didn't have to pre-soak the chips. That's one feature of TEC grills, is that you don't have to do that because you're just gonna turn it on and it's gonna start smoking the chips right away. And go ahead and close the hood, and we're gonna preheat the grill on medium for about 10 minutes or so. Okay, while it's preheating, you're also gonna start to see hopefully a little wisp of smoke coming out from the chip corral. And meanwhile, while we wait for that to preheat, we can go ahead and get our ribs ready. And I'm just using my favorite spice rub on my ribs today. You can use just about anything, just salt and pepper if you like, or any of your favorite rubs. One thing to keep in mind though is if your rub has a little extra sugar in it, it's actually gonna caramelize on the ribs much nicer and give you that really crisp brown coating on the outside. So just give it a good rub all over the ribs. So now you can see that we actually have some smoke coming out of our grill here from the wood chips. So now we're actually gonna put the ribs directly onto the smoker roaster accessory grates and then close the hood. It's gonna take about 75 to 90 minutes for the ribs to smoke. You might need to replenish the chips about halfway through the cooking time. If need be, just dump some more chips right in the front in that chip corral, and that's all there is to it. You can go ahead and turn it down to low and walk away and come back and check on it in just a few minutes. So let's take a look and see how they're doing. Oh, look at that. You can see the smoke billowing over our ribs, basting in that wonderful smoky flavor. At this point, if you like, you can go ahead and give the ribs a rub with your favorite sauce. Barbecue sauce, soy sauce, any kind of sauce that you like. You can really get creative and use your imagination when you're making ribs. And I'm just gonna cook these for just another minute or two, just until that sauce kind of solidifies and just gets a little bit of a crust on it. So we can go ahead and close the grill for just a minute, just to keep all that smoke in there. So we basted our ribs with a little bit of sauce there, and now we're ready to pull our ribs off. How do I know when ribs are done? And actually, for any of your meats that you're cooking, temperature is really the most accurate way to know when your food is done. There are definitely some cues that you can see, especially with ribs. You can start to see the rib bones starting to peek out there at the end. Getting yourself an instant read thermometer or a digital thermometer is really the best way to tell. You just need to insert the thermometer into the meat. And for ribs, you're gonna wanna go to about 160 to 170 degrees. Let's go ahead and pull them off and slice them up, and we are ready to eat.